Hi all, this is Pixel Cave, and in this video we want to talk about 3 must-know things you should know before starting out in Dune Awakening. Now, when you start a new game, you sometimes have to make choices that determine the path your character takes, or how you play together with others. In this guide, we want to answer some of the key questions around servers, how to play with friends, class options, and what to consider when choosing a faction. If you want a full overview of the game and available features, then check out this guide. By the way, if our content has helped you in the past, or if you simply enjoy watching our videos, please consider subscribing or becoming a member of our channel. And if you haven't bought the game yet, you can also support us by buying it through the link in our description. Now, the first thing you're going to do when entering the game is selecting the region and server you want to play on. Each region will have multiple worlds, and each world consists of multiple servers, or as the game calls them, sieges. Each siege is an instanced version of Haga Basin, the large map you're going to start playing on, progress with your character, the story, and where you can build a permanent base. Ideally, you want to play on the same siege together with your friends, but if that's not possible, don't worry. As long as you're on a siege that shares the same world, you can meet up at the social hubs, in the deep desert, which is the massive PvP map, and there's even an option to visit friends on their sieges. In short, if you want to play with your friends, the most important thing is that you select the same world, and if you can, select the same server, or as the game calls it, siege. By the way, you will also be able to see if any of your Steam friends is playing on one of the servers, so you can easily find and join them. If you use the option to visit a player on another siege, you can do everything you can do on your server, bar one exception, and that's claiming a piece of land and building your own home. That you can only do on your siege. However, you can join your friend's base, help building, do contracts and journeys together. All this is possible. While you won't be able to transfer any items or storage, you can bring anything that fits into your character's inventory to your friend's server or back home. And you can bring a sandbike or ornithopter by using a vehicle backup tool. However, this only works as long as the vehicle storage is empty. It will also be possible to visit other Haga Basin servers of your world, no matter if your friend is online or not. You can even visit servers where you don't have any friends. And you can do so directly from the server browser. So if your server is busy, you have at least the option to do some contracts or progress with your character in the meantime. Each Haga Basin map can host around 40 players at any given time, but since not every player will be online at the same time, there can technically be many more players that share the same Haga Basin server. That means of course that when things get busy, you could have to wait in queue to enter your server. It's also important to know that at least for now, you can only have one character per world, so you won't be able to create alts on the same or different sieges from the same world. If you want to play with more characters, you have to select either a different world or region. Now, we mentioned that every world has several instances of Haga Basins. Let's have a quick look at the server structure and how different maps are connected within the same world. As mentioned before, players from all Haga Basin instances of the same world can visit each other on their servers. They can also meet up at the 2 social hubs, and they share the same deep desert map. So let's assume there would be 25 Haga Basins per world. Then all players from each server instance of those Haga Basins could battle it out in the same deep desert, which is said to support hundreds of players. As you can see on this graphic, the way servers work makes it possible to expand the world easily with new maps, and who knows, maybe even new planets in the future. Now, beyond the official servers that are provided by Funcom, it's also possible to rent private servers. However, due to the rather complex server structure and large-scale multiplayer nature of the game, this will work a bit different from what you might be used to from other survival games. Private servers can be rented from several server providers, and each server corresponds to an instance of the Haga Basin map. You won't be able to rent a private deep desert or social hubs. These maps will be provided by the server host and are shared with a world of other private servers. Private servers can be password protected and renamed. However, what you can control in terms of settings is limited to the following. You have the option to enable PvP across the entire map of Haga Basin. You can disable taxation, and you can disable sandstorms. Disabling the last two options would mean you have pretty much no upkeep and decay, so your bases could last a very long time, if not forever. For the time being, you won't have an admin control panel and rely on your server host for settings and support. And it's also not possible to transfer characters, at least not for now. One last thing, as with official servers, you also have the option to visit other servers within a private world, as long as you have the password. And unlike on official servers, you even have the option to claim land on other private servers. All in all, private servers might be a great option for larger guilds or communities, or smaller groups of players that want more control of their Haga Basin when it comes to building or playing with others, as well as those who are seeking a full-on PvP experience. Before we move on to the next must-know, a small bonus tip. After character creation, when you're about to select your starter profession, you will also be asked where you came from and have to select a homeworld. While this choice doesn't affect the actual gameplay, each homeworld is linked to a unique emote. So choose your homeworld wisely, as you might not want to end up with an Atreides salute if you decide to play for the Harkonnen faction. We'll have a video previewing all emotes and what they are linked to on our channel. Let's talk about classes, or in this case professions. While the game has a total of 5 professions, Bene Gesserit, Trooper, Mentat, Swordmaster and Planetologist, you can only select one upon character creation. However, your choice only determines your starting abilities, as you'll be able to unlock all other professions later in game. You're not locked to one class. And if you were wondering, Planetologist is not included in the initial selection, but you can find a trainer in the starter area. So yes, you can unlock all professions, but it will involve completing some contracts and in some cases longer quest chains. One thing you won't be able to do is to max out the skill trees from all professions, since you won't have enough skill points when reaching max level. However, you are able to mix and match abilities and passives from all professions. And while you can change your selected skills at any time, you can also fully reset your skill trees, though that will trigger a cooldown. In that sense, the game gives you a lot of flexibility to find exactly the playstyle you want, or change between setups depending on your circumstances. By the way, if you're looking forward to play as a Swordmaster or Bene Gesserit, then we recommend to choose either of them as your starter class, as you won't be able to reach these trainers early on in the game. Now, there's one last topic we want to cover, as there have been quite a few questions around it. Joining factions and what it means when playing in a guild. The game is releasing with 2 factions, House Harkonnen and House Atreides. However, the devs have already said that a 3rd faction will come a bit later down the line. By the way, joining a faction is not part of your character creation. It's linked to quest givers you meet in the 2nd zone of Haga Basin. Now, joining a faction is completely optional if you want to remain neutral, but that also means you're missing out on unique building sets, placeables and skins for gear and vehicles. Furthermore, if you ever want to participate in the Landsraad with your guild, that's the political system in Dune Awakening, then faction alignment is required, so you'll miss out on that particular part of endgame content. The good news is that as long as you are aligned with a faction, you also have an option to buy building sets, vehicle skins and more from the opposing faction. It simply comes at a higher cost. And should you betray your faction, you'll keep what you have unlocked as well. A guild that hasn't aligned itself with a faction can have members from either faction, so players from different sides can all play together no matter which house they have joined. However, as soon as your guild decides that it wants to join a house, then the guild can only have members who are part of the same faction or neutral. For instance, your guild aligns itself with House Harkonnen and you are of the Atreides faction, then this will result in you being kicked from the guild automatically. There's one saving grace though, and that's the possibility to betray your faction once. So, if you have made the wrong choice, changed your mind or want to join a guild that's of another faction, then you have the option to switch, but only once. After that, there is no way back, at least not for now, so think wisely when and if you want to go the route of the betrayer. And this covers what we think are the key choices you have to make before jumping into the game. As always, if you like to see more content from us and want to support our channel, please consider giving us a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe or become a member of our channel.